Hey guys, today I'll be talking about my pet's old cages. This video is inspired by Aaron's animals. The cages are going to be old cages I've ever had, including past pets. I have a current cage video talking about the cages I use now for my small pets. I will in the future do a bird cage video, but this is all my old cages. Thought it'd be kind of cool to reflect on all the old cages and go through ones that really didn't work for me anymore. Mind you, I'm going back to the start of animal keeping, so you will see cages I've never mentioned before, and even pets I no longer have, for example my mice. So for my rabbits, I had Gigi, who was my first ever rabbit. I've talked about her, and she was free roam her entire life. Then I got my current two, who is now free roam, but at the start I had them in a NIC cage that was 4x2, and then it went to a 5x6, and they are now free roam. Next up is my guinea pig. So I've had two sets of guinea pigs. My first two was in a 3x3 NIC cage with a loft. Then my current were moved to a pond tub. Sounds weird, but it's like the big black tubs you put in the ground to make a pond. It was 3x2. I obviously left it open and they had light and such. So then they got moved to a 4x2 bookshelf that laid on its back, kind of like the detolf people use for their hamsters. I did the same, just a bigger wooden version. Then I made a 5x2 for NIC cage, and they are now in their current cage, which the video is linked down below. So they are all my guinea pig cages. Quite a lot, because it's very hard for me to find good cages until now. Now for my ferret, I'm saying ferret just as in Clover, because obviously my two new girls haven't changed, but Clover, for the first year of her life, she was actually free roam in my bedroom. And then we had some house changes and she was actually just really stubborn with litter training. And I was fed up constantly having to pick up poop. So now she is caged with her new sisters. Now for my birds. So Sage has gone through all of the cages, starting off with a 3x2 flat cage, the same one I use for my rats. I then went to a cocky's cage, which is what we call them here. It's like them large cages aimed at glass. They are not big enough for glass, but there's a little image down below. I then made a NIC cage. Yes, quite kind of weird to make a NIC cage for a cockatiel. They can escape, mind you, but she never tried to escape, and it measured 3x1. And then she's now in her current cage, which is a aviary type cage, and I'll be making a video in the future talking about my bird cage. Now for my mice, I don't have any current videos on my mice on my YouTube, but before YouTube I had a male mice named Matilda, and he was in a 10-gallon when I first got him, which is the minimum. He then got moved to a 40-gallon bin cage. Then I ended up getting a trio of female Texels, which if you used to follow my old Instagram, you would have known them. And I had them in the 40-gallon for a little bit, and then they upgraded to what I call the wooden detolf. Basically, I took a 4-tier bookshelf and laid it on its back and made that their cage. So it's basically just a wooden detolf, and that was about 4 foot by 1 foot. And then they ended up getting elderly and they developed tumours, so they had to be downgraded to a 10-gallon, which is extremely small for 3 females, but they were very old and couldn't really do much, so it was the best for them. Just a quick add-on I forgot to mention, but with my trio of girls, I did have the bookshelf cage upright, and I did make it like a leveled mansion type cage, and then it got turned into the detolf, sorry. So for my rats, they've only really had one previous cage, which was when they were babies, and it was the 3-foot flat cage that I had tipped upright so they could use the height, and that was actually a pretty good cage. Definitely recommend it for baby rats as a temporary setup.